Well, welcome to the L.A. McNair Show. All right, I got my friend here, Picasso Nelson. Good to see you, man.
Yes, sir. My pleasure.
One day I want to be just like him when I grow up. He says, don't go down, go up. So whatever that means, maybe you got some skeletons in the closet you want to talk about after, but not today. But anyway, all right, so tell us what you do and all of that kind of stuff, and yeah, what do you do?
My name is Picasso Nelson, and I'm the pastor of South 28th Avenue Baptist Church in Hattiesburg. But how I make my living is through real estate. And so my company name is Picasso Nelson Agency, LLC. And I have other entities, but mainly I buy single-family homes, and I do have some apartments. Currently, I own 103 doors, 83 homes, and then 20 doors as far as apartments. So, but last week, praise report, I got a contract on my apartments to sell them, and I got a contract on my other apartments to sell them. So things are looking up. Things are looking up.
Now tell us what you selling it for.
Well, if you want to know, the 16-plex, it was $1,025,000. And then the 4-plex, I sold it for $240,000. Not a bad day. I can teach you how to mess it up and how to make bad financial decisions. But from 32 to 52, that's why I'm teaching the class. I want to help people go out and create some investments and have residual income, mailbox money. And that's my goal. And my goal to do that is that God has been speaking to me. And I really believe this year, I said, I'm going to stop what I'm doing. Because over my career, I've purchased over 500 homes, flipped a lot of them. But as a result this year, it's just been on my heart. When I retired from Jackson State 2 years ago, I went full force in buying houses. And it was a lot of work. And God put it on my heart, do something for somebody else. So I developed this class called Creating Residual Income Through Real Estate. And that's what I'm doing now. And I really believe by being obedient to God, because I could have kept on buying, but I've been developing this course. I really believe that's why those apartments sold and other things have opened up for me. And
now you was in real estate before you was in ministry.
Oh yes, oh yes.
Now what made you go to ministry? I understand God and all that kind of stuff, but to most of us, we'd be like, well, I'm making some money. Not saying we preach for money, but I'm just saying, what made you go to ministry from there?
In 2012, I went through a scam. So I had a buddy, in 2012, I went through a scam. And it put me in a financial plight. And I thought I was going to have to file bankruptcy. And I promised to God, the worst thing for a man is to lose your business. Because you put your heart, your soul, you max out credit cards, because when God spoke to you, it wasn't a conference call.
Sure.
He was speaking to you.
Yep.
And whenever God give you a promise, before the promise and the purpose, in between, there's going to be a problem. And when I went through that, I thought my business was over, and I prayed to God, God, if you stop my business from going into bankruptcy, I would preach your word with vigor. And he turned that thing around. And what happened was a hedge fund came and brought a lot of my properties, and they switched it around. I paid my house off, and me and my wife was riding around looking for a facility to start a church. And I heard about South 28, and they brought me in. Now, when they brought me in to be the head pastor of South 28, I will remind you, I only preached one sermon prior to that. So they didn't know what they were getting.
Now, who is they?
South 28 Baptist Church.
Okay.
I did my trial sermon at Mount Olive. See how God turns it around. And I've been going strong. We're there the first 5 years, no salary. I was pumping money into the church. But every time I blessed the church, God kept multiplying my business. And a few years ago, after the pandemic, enrollment went down. I said no salary. And he's just been blessing my business. So you cannot beat God given. Trust him and line up with him.
So I do know that I don't know when I got married, but anyway, I had 2 little babies at the house, and I was working, and me and that guy there was working at a place in Hattiesburg, same place at the time, and we were getting paid every week, and so But what time you had to be at work? About 4:30?
6 for me.
Oh, it was 6 for you. It was 4 to me. And so left that job, went to another job, and I think every 2 weeks I was making $506 some dollars.
Yeah.
That was nothing. And so then at that time I was preaching on the radio, and we had to go to a church. There's a guy here, I ain't gonna call his name, but he had a relative that worked at that church. And I was so embarrassed. I said, I ain't going to that church for no money. I seen her. She went I was embarrassed. But when I lost my job, October 29th, 2020, I think I had $400 in my pocket,
Right.
And I had called her and I said, well, you know, that day we talked about has happened. It has come. I thought she was going to say, you better not come to this house because you ain't got no job. You know how some women are, not all women. But, you know, and so I thought she was going to say, don't you come back here, bills and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And so she said, okay, praise the Lord. Hello, are you there? You know, and so I got home and I decided I don't want to go in that house because if I go in that house, I'm going to get depressed. So I decided to take that little $400 and go out and go get something to eat. Mm-hmm. And on the way back, I stopped at the Mercedes dealership. I ain't had no money. I think I had like $200 in my pocket. We had $8, the rest of the money up. And I stopped at the Mercedes dealership. No money. What kind of car you want? The car your wife got.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it had screens in the back. Y'all had screens in the back?
Yep.
You know, and so they called back the next day and say, hey, your car's ready.
Right.
Come get it. No, you ain't. You want to come get it? You want us to bring it to you? No, y'all ain't finna come to my house and kill me. I thought I was being punked or something, you know?
Right.
And so, and that was the beginning of God blessing me without the traditional way of working.
Right.
And ever since then, it's 2025 now, I've worked for myself.
Praise God.
Yeah. So I get that when you give to the things of the kingdom, then God will give it back in his time, obviously.
Right.
Let's cut the chase for a minute.
Okay.
How much money you make a year doing this real estate, man?
I mean, it's a good amount. I mean, you got to look at it. If you're looking at 103 doors and you're getting over $1,000, I'm averaging about $1,300 a month on a house. It's anywhere from $1,200 to $1,600.
Sure.
And so you're looking at 103. So I mean, and most of it's Section 8. That's the beautiful thing. If rent is $1,500 and they got to pay $80, that's good odds right there. And so what happened is every month it's a lottery. I mean, I'm doing the stanky leg, Tootsie Roll, drop it like a hot, all that, right? And that's the beautiful thing about it, but you're only running down 10% of your money, opposed to renting to someone that's a regular tenant and they won't pay and won't move. Now, I want to say this. You got to figure out in real estate your buy box and what you want to do. It may be trailers. It may be single family. It may be a duplex. And what I want to do, I really want to help our community to have a growth mindset and not a fixed mindset. And what I mean by that, as you mentioned earlier about trading time for money. You working for $13 an hour. There's nothing wrong with that. I did it all my life. And I stopped working 2 years ago, so I always had active income.
Yep.
But I want our community to flip over to the passive income. That's where the magic is. And what I mean by that, if you collecting $1,500 a month for a house, if you just have delayed gratification, when it get paid off, $1,500 is not a lot of money per se per month, but get 10 houses, get 20. Y'all see the mindset now? 30. You making money in your sleep and not on your feet. And it's about making mailbox money. And your money can work a whole lot harder than you. So I want folks to work your job and may go to the second job. Nothing wrong with active income. But how can I get over to the passive income when I get mailbox money? And that's the mindset I want to teach out. And that's what God put on my heart this year. Like, okay, it's okay to make money with your hands. But how can you make money work for you? And once you learn that, then you can do it. But a problem in our community, there's magic in the gap. And we don't have that gap coverage in our community. If we make $80,000, we get a raise, and then now our bills come up to $80,000. Then we go to 100, and then the Mercedes come out, and every now the bills come up to 100. But you don't have that gap. But if you're at 80,000 and you start paying off some debt, there's magic in the gap. And then you get a pay raise to 100, now you got some gap. Now I can invest. But every time I get a raise, my stuff come up. If you can't sit down for 2 years.
Hold on one second. Because what you're saying right now is a part of the reason why we can't advance. Because we work a little overtime, and you pastor, so I don't know how you pastor contrary to how I pastor. Mm-hmm. You had money when you started.
Yeah.
I didn't have no money.
Right.
Yeah. You say right, what that supposed to mean?
No, we all have a different path.
What is that supposed to mean?
You know, we all have different starting points in life. Some people had a 2-parent home. Some people come from this side of town. Some people come from the lower.
Like,
we got different starting points. But here's the good news. We all serve a powerful God. Amen. So he'll take where we are now and turn it to something else.
So let's talk about this entrepreneur. I don't know if it's a gift. I don't know if it's a spirit. I don't know if it's something you pray for, something you lay down on the ground and foam at the mouth for. But what would you say, because there are different people, they ain't trying to go into real estate.
Yeah.
They trying to go into the cleaning business, or they're trying to go into, whatever. Huh?
That's a good one.
What is that? Bacon. So what is it that you would say that is needed to be a great entrepreneur?
Let's take the cleaners. Delayed gratification. If it come fast, it's gonna go fast. That make any sense to you? And you might as well pay on the front end, because if you don't pay on the front end, you're gonna pay on the back end with interest. And so I like to do the hard stuff first.
Yep.
That's why I say get your house paid off.
Yep.
But let's take the cleaners. Delayed gratification. You're making this amount. You start grabbing some customers. You still got expenses. Don't go out and buy the Lexus. Now get your debt down, and then you may get more customers. Now you got the gap. Now I can invest in a Roth IRA. Now I can invest in something else that's residual. Whatever it is, it's still mailbox money. It don't have to be real estate. But now you still got the gap. There's always magic in the gap. If you are staying in an efficiency apartment and you get in that gap, it may not be time to buy a single family home. What you can do is get that gap going and see, I don't think that people deserve to ride in luxury vehicles. I'm gonna say it again. For most of us that come from this side of town, across the track, you don't deserve to ride in a luxury vehicle. And the reason why I say that, the best way to get what you want is to deserve it. So my mentality is, once you get that gap and you create that investment, that asset, once that asset gets to a certain amount, when it can pay for the Lexus or that liability, then you can get it. But in between that time, you create that magic in the gap. So it's a mindset. So I want to teach y'all have a growth mindset. When your salary go up, don't borrow right then. Create that asset and let your asset pay your liability. People often all the time ask me, man, every gas station, how much your truck cost? My wife and all that.
I asked the question.
Yeah, and they'll ask me that. I mean, but here's the thing. I be coming to the gas station, and men know another man. Men be giving me salutes, and older, white gentlemen and black men, they just see my truck, they be like, I don't even have to say, now I may be the biggest criminal in the world, but when I pull up to a gas station, I ain't got to say nothing. They be like, you the man. No, God is the man.
Yep.
But here's the thing. I don't pay my truck note. I got assets to pay my truck note. So I had 2 houses they got paid off. I'm gonna make it look like I don't make no money. And so now that's gonna pay it. My wife, same thing. So here's the thing. We just gotta get our assets to a certain point. Get somewhere like Big Mama said and sit your behind down. And when it get to that point for your asset to pay for your liability, then you can get what you want because you deserve what you want because God created the increase.
So do you think that part of the problem is that because a lot of people have had to go without the life that they've dreamed about or that they see, that the first chance that they get, they just go to running instead of making, because this is what somebody told me. I don't know if it was you or somebody. They said, we work hard so we can play hard. And we don't play hard, then try to catch up and work hard.
I like the philosophy of you work hard so your money can work harder.
Yeah, well.
That's the philosophy I like.
Okay, I got you.
And then once your money work harder and get that thing built up, then you deserve your next toy. But in America, I honestly believe this. Money don't make you happy, but being broke will make you sick. So we need money, but it's how we do it. And so that's why I said delayed gratification. There's a point in a time to do it. But if you stay in the rat race, how are you going to have time to advance? Babies get sick. You may get sick. And when you're living on 95% of your money, it ain't if you're going to go down. It's only when. Because things happen. So you want to keep that gap. And I'm no better than no one else, but the mindset is a growth mindset and not a set mindset.
So I guess when someone they said, if you want to know how the turtle won the race, moving too fast hurts.
It hurts.
We got to be patient.
Got to be patient.
Because the rabbit or whatever that was chasing or racing the turtle made it all the way around. But the turtle still won because the turtle took baby steps.
Right.
And,
Let me tell you about one of my contractors. He was like, Picasso, how do you do it? And I'm like, back in the day, we'll get a house. I normally get it back when everything was real low in 98, when the debacle hit. I might be in it for 40. I go get the house. I pay cash for it. I go to the bank and do a refinance. The note be like $650. I'm collecting $1,000 a month. I got a cash flow. But here's the thing. I put it on a 5-year fix. I put all that on the note and let it pay off in 3.5 years. But here's the thing. I never made it 5 years. I find a house to flip or whatever. But then once I pay it off, the house may be worth $150. They'll give me a line of credit for $120. Yeah. Well, I can use that line of credit to buy other houses while I'm still collecting that $1,000 a month rent. So you're really pimping on both ends. But here's the thing. The reward happens in the end. That's when the real rewards happen. So you got collateral. You're already in a position that banks, you're loanable. So sky's the limit. So once you get a deal paid off, you should go hard in the paint. Once you get it paid off, your previous deals will pay for your future deal. And so what you're doing is you're setting yourself up for the future. And so balling and all that, I'm for a person who's 31, 32 like me. You did it your way and you found out that life will put a whooping on you. I'm for the person who's tired of being tired and stop listening to the rappers and listen to somebody who can make it slow and learn how to make some more. That's what I'm for.
This just got hard. My goodness. Wow. So while you was talking, I thought about something. How can we as entrepreneurs get credible with the banks?
Okay, so funding the deal. And I'm in my class, I'm going to do that. I'm having a class next month called Creating Residual Income.
You better sign up too. You bet. Yeah. His stuff will be on the website.
Oh yeah,
probably at midnight tonight.
I'm giving my PDF files, how to do an application, how to do a HUD voucher, how to look for a deal. But let's get to the finance. The banks are going to look for 3 things. And they're going to look for your personal financial statement, which I'm going to give in that class on how to do one. That's your overall view, your debt to income ratio. They're going to want 3 years tax return on that. And then they're going to know, what's the property and what it appraised for. I'm going to show you how to analyze a deal to know it's a good deal before you get there. So I'm giving them everything from the Rudy to the Tootie, from the beginning to the end on how to do real estate. And that's the beautiful thing about it. But these banks are looking for that. And let me show you how this stuff works. See, when you walk with with confidence and you know what you're doing, banks look at you a little different. I walked in Hancock Bank probably 15 years ago. I walked in there, a guy named Thomas Robb. And I said, you know what? I want to get a line of credit for $50,000. And he said, well, I walked in his office. I saw his card right there. I went to my phone. I sent him an email. He said, well, I'm going to need 3 years tax return. I said, I sent that to you. He was like, huh? We just met. He said, I'm going to need a personal financial statement. I sent that to you, too. He said, I also want to know what you want to use the funds to. I said, I sent you a letter application and all that on there, too. He was like, huh? How you do that? I said, I saw your email on your card. He pulled it up, looked at it. Everything he asked me for was there. He said, wait a minute, man. I'm looking at your credentials. I'm looking at the amount of properties you have. I had 70 at the time. He said, man, come back tomorrow. My boss man ain't gonna be in. He said, man, you don't need to apply for no 50. We'll give you 100. But he got to approve it. Boss man came back the next week. He was like, this sounds too good to be true. He called around Hattiesburg, asked several people about me, brought me in. They gave me $100,000 line of credit. And I'm gonna show you why it's a big deal. It was unsecured, just on my name. That's how it works.
So faith alone is not good enough.
You gotta be prepared.
You gotta have some integrity.
You gotta have some integrity.
You gotta have some integrity.
And then my readiness, when he had everything he needed. He was like, this dude ain't nothing to play with.
Yeah, and my thing is that I've grown up in church. I'm tired of shouting over cars and houses. I'm gonna leave that to whoever wants to do that, because I feel that if I just do what I'm supposed to do, if the folk in the world that's rapping about all that stuff can have it, I ain't finna be one of them folk in church. Somebody, he said I'm finna be a millionaire. I'm gonna be a millionaire anyway because I'm doing my due diligence.
That's it.
But, yeah, so.
I want to tell you about my contractor. He saw me one day and I'm like, he said, man, I want to get to this thing. Here's the thing. Back in the day, I on a 5-year note. Now, 10 years may be a better option for you, right? But I don't get paid nothing initially. My contractor who's beating up everything, who's painting, who's doing all that, he get paid every week. My plumber who comes in there and replumb, put toilets in, he get paid and he pay his guys. My electrician, he gets paid that week. So when I finish a project within 2 to 3 weeks or a month, everybody, real estate agents, everybody done got paid, closing attorneys, everybody got paid except me. And then I go to the bank, they put it on a little interest, they getting paid too. But that's not the key. After 5 years, and like I said, we never made it 5 because I get a flip or something. If I paid off in 3 years, that $1,500.
Paid off early?
Yeah, paid off early.
One of my members bought a year model car and paid it off in a year.
Yeah.
I asked her, what you do?
Yeah. But yeah. My response to that is, after the house is paid off in 3 to 4 or 5 years, it never stopped paying me. It paid me every single month. And that's the key, is the long game. When you learn the long game, everybody's gonna get theirs up front. But since I have delayed gratification, that means if you can't sit down 2 years and get yourself together, you care too much about what other people think. Oh. So you got to think of the end game. So it's really a mindset. I'm getting to the end. I'm not buying nothing. So if my note is $1,200 or just say my note's $600, I'm bringing in 13, I'm gonna put additional on there to make sure it's paid off, because I'm looking at the end game.
Wow. Good day in the morning, huh?
Here's another thing. A lot of stuff you think you want, when you start making the money to buy it,
I know.
You walk over there like,
yes,
I don't even care nothing about that.
Yes, sir.
I don't, I mean, now I go,
yes.
I mean, a guy called me the other day about picking up a G-Wagon. I'm 52 years old. What do I look like riding around? I mean, that don't impress me. That making sense?
You can give it to me if you want.
That's what the rappers say. That's what the actors say. That's what the world say. But if I don't like it, I'm at a point in my life, I like boots and I like a big boy truck. Other than that, I'm low budget. My
You
shades,
don't have to like it. You can give it to me.
okay. But my shades are $15, my socks come from Walmart. Everything on me is not fancy, but if I want to go to Paris today, if I want to do those things, but I promise you, when you have delayed gratification, at the very end, a lot of things you thought you would want, you work so hard to get there, and you don't want to be in a financial plight, you don't even want to put yourself at risk.
Now, I am in 150% of what you said. However, I know us. He is not saying that if I want a Rolls Royce, I don't need it. He's just saying put the most important things first, because I notice among us, oh, he just flashy. She flashy. She got on new hair. And what? You must be mad because you ain't got. That's how I look at it.
Now, one disclaimer. Now, I believe in delayed gratification. I believe in saving. I believe in getting stuff one bite at a time.
Sure.
But not my wife. She want to swipe them cards.
Okay.
She going shopping. She want her bag. She like, I hear all that financial advice, but I want my bag.
And when I called him one day, I said, "What you doing?" He said, "I'm at the house waiting on my wife and them. They went shopping."
Yeah. She don't believe in this method now. I'm just letting you know.
They went shopping. So, well, man, I enjoyed you, man.
My pleasure.
We got probably 20 seconds. Anybody got a question for him? Anybody got a question? I knew it was going to be you. Come on.
First of all, you talked about a Roth or IRA, and I was wanting to know what would be better with either Roth IRA or high yield interest account.
She's tough.
I think I like both of them,
She's
especially in this climate.
She's tough.
I like both of them.
When expecting that.
But you want to do residual. I would just Google different ways to make residual income.
Yep.
I got a friend, all he buys storage units. That works for him. I buy rental houses. That worked for me. I got a friend, when I first got in, he was a hard money lender, and he used to loan me money through a Roth IRA. So high yield, either one, and some people do the S&P 500. Figure out what your comfort zone is, and that's what you do. But I like Roth IRA because we was using it and we use it for other investments after a certain period of time. You can find things you like and it can duplicate. That's why I said about the Roth IRA. But it's a million ways in real estate to make $1 million. You just got to choose the one that fits you. And when God speaks to you, it's not a conference call. He was speaking directly to you. Follow his guidance.
Wow. All right. Well, listen. So he has a course.
I'm with it. If you all can help me out, blast it on your Facebook, your page and all that, because I have no motive. My motive is to be obedient to him. And so I want to do this because I have some family members who have a warped mentality, but they don't know any better. Yeah. I didn't know any better until I was 22. So the first thing I've done is started reading Dave Ramsey book, and it was called Financial Peace. Now it's called Total Money Makeover. That's a good one because you cannot outwork a bad budget. And then the next one was Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And that's the one that taught me how to make residual income, making money in my sleep and not on my feet. So once you have that rote memory, because school teaches us rote memory and all that, you got to manage it right. But then now how I can make it work for me. And that's the mindset I wanted. Look, I didn't quit my job. It was in increments. When I flipped the house, I paid stuff off. Everything I've done was in increments. But you'll look back when you keep planting these seeds. You just plant the seeds and watch God provide the rain and the sun and watch that thing grow. So I want to have that mentality of a growth mindset, not just trading time for money, but how to use that when you got that gap. Because you don't have to grow up on that side of town. You just got to have that gap. And that's going to give the person that's making $50,000 in the plant, sit your behind down when you get a $5,000 raise and pay off some more debt because you got a little more money, get that gap. That's when you create the magic. So you don't have to be on that side of town. You don't have to come from a two-parent home. And that's my mission, is to talk to young people about that who did not come from a two-parent home, who did not have additional funding, who got it from the mud. So they always say this, that you got to have money to make money. That is a story. You do not have to have money to make money. No, you don't have to have money to make money. But it takes money to make money. So if you ain't got if you don't have the money, just have good credit. It's gonna have good credit. And they ain't gonna give you their money if you don't manage yours.
Nah.
So there's a way for everybody. So we don't have to be saying, well, he got something because his parents are rich. No, you got to start where you are, your reality. And when you start with your reality, God will give you the increase.
Wow. Thanks, man.
My pleasure.
Listen, I want y'all to go crazy because what's happening now is history being made.
I did have a question.
Okay.
So I'm actually in school for business. And everything you were saying, the statistics of the classes doesn't really involve you telling you, okay, so say for instance, I want to open up a Washington. I'm looking at the area. Should I put it in the area where, say for instance, like Oak Grove and Broadway? Which area should I put it on? Or should I buy a building or, you know?
Yes, so you're gonna need a market analysis. It's location, location, and location. Then you gotta hire people who are lined up with your vision.
Right.
Now, if you look in the Bible, Rahab, she had her house in the hills. When you, like you go to New Orleans, if you get off the interstate, you're gonna see a Waffle House. Right. Location. Rahab had it right there in the hill, and they came in town. And I'm not trying to be facetious, but the location. So, and then too, here's the thing: when God tells you to do something, and I mentioned earlier, it's not a conference call. There's nobody like you.
Right.
There's nobody like you. And the good thing is you got to hire people who lines up with your mindset. If they don't, you need to go ahead and let them go. Because I've learned in business, most folks don't care about your business. Because I learned this right here. Everybody want a job, but nobody want to work. So it's going to be some checks and balances along the way, you know what I'm saying? And some folks going to get upset with me. But it don't matter. Business is business.
I wouldn't have said that.
Business is business.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, thank y'all so much.
Okay, y'all good?
Y'all good?
If you're interested in taking the class, I can give y'all my number, or it'll be on the site, but it's Picasso Nelson Agency LLC on Facebook. But my number is 601.
And he's famous too.
I'm not famous.
He's famous.
Just a small fly, you know, just trying to do God's will. But 601-408-7156. 601-408-7156. Look, 20 years of experience, I'm sharing it all because I know you cannot be God-given, and I want to help somebody. And this stuff ain't overnight. This is 5 to 10 years, and this is staying at the same level, getting somewhere and sitting down, and over time, you can do this. And you'll look back, you're going to have more money come from different directions, and you be finding money in your accounts like, I forgot I had that.
I'm going back to the Baptist church.
Go ahead. Oh, I'm sorry, 601-408-7156. And the course starts next Tuesday. We're going to Zoom at 9 a.m. for an hour and a half, whatever, and at 6 p.m. on Tuesdays and Thursdays. Every Tuesday and Thursday, starting next Tuesday. 6 a.m. and 6 p.m., I'm unloading, and we're going to record it. The people who pay, I think it's $250 get all my files and all that. And we're going to ask questions, and then they got to fly only. If it's $100, just want to be there and just learn. But it's something good that our people, and look, you learn from all my tears, all my fears, all the things that I did wrong. I want to help someone, and I want to be a blessing. And that's the only goal.